Is the Rock and Metal Faith podcast. There we go. Welcome back to another edition of the Rock and Metal Faith podcast. I'm your host, Aaron, along with my co-host, Chris. That's where you step in.
Hey, how's it going, man? A little slight delay there. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. We got a little bit of news to cover with. Actually, first thing I'm going to do as far as news goes is we were talking about the band Bride being back together, playing live. Hopefully they still are, because Dale Thompson has just undergone knee surgery. He's recovering from that, and I think that set him back a little bit financially, and they're having trouble financial wise getting immigration or whatever coming to the state, back to the States. But as far as I can figure out,
where is he?
He was in New Zealand. He's been living over there. And as far as I can figure out anyways, from Wikipedia, the current lineup for Bride would be Dale and Troy Thompson on vocals and guitars respectively. It's always been Dale and Troy. And backing them up on rhythm, we got Nana Lucina on bass and Alexander Paulson on drums. So that's Bride. Also, too, I didn't have this written down, but we're one of the Christian metal fests called Immortal Fest. There's 2 weekends of them. We were talking about that last time, and I've got news that Ex-Sinner was supposed to be there. They're going to have to bail out. Apparently, it's not financially feasible for them to attend. So it sounds like promoters only have so much money, not a lot to pay everybody what they think
they really get.
Yeah, or what they think they need to get there and play type of thing.
Yeah, they didn't have the money to travel, and yeah.
So, however, Ex-Sinner is gonna be back. They are working on a new album now. Last thing I heard is they have been recording tracks. I think a lot of the tracks are laid, and it's a matter of producing, editing, and mixing, and all that stuff like that. So, hey, we should be getting a new Ex-Sinner this year.
That might be interesting, since they've been out of the whole thing for what, 10 years or something like that? Been a while.
Yeah. They had the 2 albums that came out in the late 80s. There was a third one called World Covered in Blood. I can't remember what year that came out now. I think that was mid 90s, but yeah, it's been a long time. And
speaking of news, are you going to update our audience on Oz Striper's guitarist and his surgery?
Yes, I was just getting to that. Hey,
okay.
Good one. Oz Fox has been in surgery there. For those who have been following Striper and following what's going on, a couple of years back there, he had a couple of brain tumors, and they operated. They thought at the time they got rid of it all. They probably did at the time. However, he's back in with more surgery in the same area. I think they found some more, or it came back, or whatever. With that,
I was part of a live stream with them with his wife. I just caught it by accident and was watching it, and so he looks pretty good. You know, for our audience, I've had brain surgery, so I know what that's all about. And he looks really good post.
Yeah.
Brain.
And more news on that. With that being said, the and this was posted on the Facebook. I think I did an update with the new album, the Tell with the Amps. that tour is still going to go ahead as planned. Instead, they're bringing in Will Doughty to replace Oz Fox, but he plays keyboards. And so he's going to be filling in on keys and adding some vocal harmonies to it. And for those of you who would like to help out Oz Fox with his medical bills and everything else like that, they are doing a fundraising campaign by buying a special Oz Fox t-shirt. I believe you can find that through the band's website.
If you guys can go help him out, he definitely would love the support for sure. We're not connected to him at all, but just go do it.
No, I tell you, it makes me glad I live up here with socialized Medicare.
Yes.
Everybody in the hospital and having fundraise and raise bills or whatever. That's not a good way to go, I think.
No. Do we, just out of curiosity, do we know how much they need? How much do we know how much brain surgery was?
No, I'm sure he's got insurance. I would think he's got insurance of some kind. But they're doing a fundraising campaign to help him out. Maybe it's for all the other bills that are piling up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And stuff. You know what? We don't have too many birthdays actually for these last couple of weeks of this month. We've got 3. So for birthdays here, May 29th, from the band Third Day, we have Mark David Lee, born in 1973. And then on May 30th, from the band Demon Hunter, Don Clark. Oh. And he was born in 1975. Actually, that reminds me too, one other thing I didn't write down on the news. Demon Hunter just released a brand new song. This one actually might divide the fans a little bit. It doesn't sound like a typical Demon Hunter tune. It's very slow, very mellow, just straight strumming on the guitar and singing in it. Well, there's no Cookie Monster vocals in this one, put it that way.
Oh wow, that's okay.
And stuff like this. I'm not a huge Demon Hunter fan. I know there's lots of fans out there. I've tried to get into them. I think for me, it's the tempo of the song throws me off. They've got the heavy guitars that sounds like it should be a faster song, and then they just bring it down to like a mid-tempo level. And for me personally, it just kind of throws me off.
Yeah, I never got into Demon Hunter. I think I listened to 1 or 2 songs in the Bible bookstore with those little headphones, when you were checking out an album. I think I just listened to 1 or 2 songs and said, no, it just didn't. It reminded me of the European music. It was just a little different.
Well, that's kind of funny because I've been getting into lots of European music lately. A lot of the bands I've been listening to are from Sweden, Norway, Greece, and over there. I've been telling it was a new band. Well, I guess they're not a new band, 10 albums in or whatever, and they've gone through various lineups and various singers. But there's a band called Signum Regis, and we've talked about them a little bit on here before. I think I've played a couple of their songs before. And it's funny because they've been around quite a while, but they're starting to make waves now. Anytime I'm on Facebook, there are a lot of guys on Facebook that are promoting the last CD they put out called Undivided. And yeah, I ended up picking it up. Sounds pretty good. I like it. Speaking of Signum Regis, actually, we do have a birthday from the band. Ronnie Connick June 2nd, born 1983. Not sure if he's the vocalist. I think he's one of the guitarists and stuff. So that's about it for birthdays. After that, we'll be getting into June, and we can do that on our June podcast. What else we got going? I think that's about it for news. Say, I was just wondering something, Chris. I was wondering, do you think there's any Christian bands out there that sound like Ratt?
There might be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. There could be. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. What about the band White Cross?
That would work. Yeah, yeah. They might sound more louder, and Rex Carroll. Yeah.
Well, White Cross is often compared to Rat, especially when they first started. I think a lot of it had to do with Scott Winslow's vocals being in the same
Mhm.
range, the same tone type of thing, the same rasp that Stephen Percy had. A lot of it too, I think, was Rex Carroll's playing too.
Yeah.
I think they all kind of grew up on the same guitar heroes. Who's who's in Rat? Trying to think now. The main guys from Rat. Probably Warren DeMartini was one. And I keep getting the members of Rat and Dawkins confused a lot of times. Although I know George Lynch was in Dawkins. Um, but yeah, Rex Carroll had similar guitar tone style as those guys, and I think they're easily get compared. Rex or Scott didn't like the comparison. He didn't think they sound like Rat at all, and Rex at least saw where the comparisons were coming from, type of thing.
That's
Um,
right. That and Christian artists don't, they normally don't like people trying to. Oh, okay, you're gonna get saved, and then you want us to sound like the music you just left. Like, yeah, I can see why Rex would be a little. Yeah, but that unfortunately that's just the way it is. It's just you know.
yeah. Well, that was actually the theme of where I was going to go with this. Talk about the comparisons between the Christian and secular industries type of thing. And I was debating about doing this because I didn't really want to do this kind of episode, although there was no, but I think it needs to be done. And we're only going to talk about 10 of the comparisons. I'm sure there's a lot more comparisons than what we're going to mention. And I know on Facebook, someone is always constantly asking, hey, who sounds like so and so type of thing and stuff. So we thought this would be maybe a good stepping stone or at least a good idea for discussion. And
Fun.
you're
Yeah.
right. Every time someone asks that question on Facebook, hey, who sounds like so and so, you always get a number of answers. Who cares? And why do you want that? If you want to listen to so and so, listen to them. Doesn't matter if they're Christian or non-Christian, but some Christians do want to break from the secular scene and want to stay in the Christian scene. I can understand that.
And they
Um,
want to, I mean, for me, my journey when I switched partially, I wanted music that was the standard of the mainstream. And
yeah,
unfortunately, I haven't found it yet, but I'm willing to give that part of it up. That maybe the industry may not be able to evolve to the high standard that the mainstream is when it comes to the production, innovation of music.
yeah. Well, and that was the problem too. Is especially in the early days there in the '80s. I think the Christians maybe it was due to lack of money, possibly a smaller audience. They had they were seem to be behind the times, especially in production quality. And
Oh yeah.
and but White Cross is a great band and a great comparison band. As much as I hated doing comparisons, and I think I brought this up before, I did have a friend of mine in high school there who was a huge Rat fan. So I was over to his house one day. I said, "Hey, check out this band," and threw it on his player, and he was just in awe of Rex's playing. It was White Cross I threw on for him, and White Cross came to town, so it was no brainer that him and I were going to go see the White Cross concert, and we were like front row center stage type of thing, and he was had his mouth dropping on the floor the whole time watching Rex play.
Where was that?
That was probably at the People's Church. That might have been the first time I heard them come.
I think that might have been the only time they were there.
No, well, maybe.
I
And then yeah,
did I see them with you?
we did see them. I think on a later tour. I think that first tour that I seen him would have been, just trying to think, in the Kingdom tour, I think, or Triumph and Return, one of those two.
And I saw it with you during the High Gear tour because I
Yeah.
remember you had a High Gear shirt.
Yes. Actually, I still got that shirt. I don't have it on right now, but I do still have that shirt.
You didn't wear it for the White Cross show? Oh, man.
No, I had a different White Cross.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, anyways, so moving down our list here. If I wanted someone to sound like AC/DC, who do you think? Yeah.
I would say Exeter.
Hey, good choice. Yes. And there again, I think they definitely had that kind of sound. Again, the vocals were the same raspiness as Brian Johnson's. Not exactly the same. You can definitely tell the difference, but I think even in high school when that first album came out, Get It, I was playing for people, and I thought, you know what? You probably could have told people that this was an unreleased AC/DC song,
And you can
and I
get
think
away with it, yeah.
I think they would have believed it. We're gonna try this here.
Yeah, like
So there
that.
you go.
Oh, what
A bit
album is
extra
that
there.
from?
That was from Get It, their first album. You know, the same raunchy guitars. They might have the distortion or their gain cranked a little bit higher than AC/DC. I know as a guitarist, when people try to play AC/DC material, they tend to crank up the distortion and the gain more than what the band themselves do, type of thing. They think it should be really high, and really it's just a lot of it's actually not even a lot, just a little bit of
Yeah,
overdrive
it's
to get
just
that
in the
AC/DC tone
mixing. Yeah.
and stuff. But yeah, so there you go.
That was good.
Down on our list now. One of my favorite band. Well, these are all kind of my favorite bands to listen to as far as the secular scene. But another one of my favorite hardcore guys, still going strong. These are the band. You know, let's talk about Iron Maiden, a band that
Oh,
gets slack for their imagery, I guess. And
yes, yeah.
yeah, the imagery is there, but lyrically, I don't think there's much negative there. They like singing about
No.
history and this and that. But if you wanted to say drop dome and look for a Christian alternative, any ideas who you'd pick there?
I don't know. Who would you pick?
I would go with Barren Cross.
Okay.
If you ever heard these guys, again, I know. Oh, I'm trying to think the vocalist's name there, and I know he's been in interviews and asked with the comparison. He didn't. Again, he didn't like it. Didn't think it was there. He says the only reason they got compared to Iron Maiden is, again, his voice is in the same range, kind of the same tone as Bruce Dickinson. That's where a lot of these comparisons come from. I've been reading a book from Tom Warman, who is a big time secular producer. He produced a lot of records in the 70s and 80s. Did produce one Christian record. He produced Stripers Against the Law, but they weren't looking for a Christian producer at the time either. But he's talking about what makes a song a good song. He says, for a song to touch your emotions, regardless of if it's successful in the marketplace, the song should be well written, well performed, effectively arranged, and well mixed. And if any one of those things is absent, chance of it being powerful and hitting you emotionally are reduced. Now, that doesn't mean it won't. But, when all those elements are there, and I think the reason I bring that up is because I think some of these comparisons between the secular and the mainstream, they capture the same elements type of thing. Whether it's the voice, whether it's maybe the writing style and stuff like this. And was it Baron Cross also would do sometimes the same guitar tones, sometimes that double bass, that bum 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 bum.
That's right.
What people would call that the galloping rhythm, or they would actually call it the Iron Maiden galloping rhythm, because Iron Maiden used to do it all the time. They almost got pigeonholed until they changed their style a little bit and got away from that. But yeah, I think Baron Cross, Iron Maiden, very similar bands. And a lot of these bands, you're not going to find something that is exactly a copycat. They don't want to be exact copycats,
Baron Cross didn't last very long, did they? They did what, 1, 2 albums?
No, they did more.
Oh.
They released, Baron Cross released 6 albums from 86 to 94.
Oh.
The vocalist was Michael Drive for Baron Cross. And I know he's got a new project out now called Human Code. So he's moved on from Baron Cross, and he's got new music out. I don't have any lined up for him.
Time to plug it in and turn it up.
So this week on Plug It In, we're going to do Heat It Up by DeGarmo and Key. That for Plug It In is, if you haven't heard this before, I think it's a good rock song. It's got good hard rock guitars in it. Starts it off. I think that's what it's called. And, again, they still feature the keyboard. Okay, so back to the main episode. Have you heard the band Tesla?
Been years. Oh, 20,
Yeah.
25 years? Yeah, yeah. I never really got into it, but who do you think they sound like?
The closest I would come to Tesla, and I bring it up because they had a couple albums that really had a Tesla sound. I wouldn't say their whole catalog sounds like Tesla, but the two big albums, was it Fire and Love and Miracle Mile by Guardian, would be a
Oh,
Tesla type
okay.
sound.
Okay.
And although a lot like Tesla, when the 90s hit, they turned out a acoustic album. 90s hit, Tesla put out an acoustic live record called the Five Man Acoustic Jam. Tesla did Swing Swing Swum, and then they tried to do the grunge scene. There was a couple albums, well, not Tesla, but Guardian tried to do the grunge scene. There they did.
Oh.
What was it? Just trying to think what was there. They did Bottle Rocket, and there was Buzz, which really had that grunge flavor. I wasn't into those ones so much.
I still remember when we went to see Bottle Rocket. I think maybe we were working it or something.
No, I was there as a fan. I was actually quite
You were there? Okay.
I was quite disappointed with that show because they did nothing off of Miracle Mile. I don't really know if they had the same guitarist. I know they still had Jamie Rowe on vocals, and it was at that show I got my Miracle Mile CD signed. I don't even know if it's the same lineup.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I saw them. I was working it behind the scenes. I mean, they were really good behind the scenes. I mean, they, paid for food and stuff. They were good, obviously. And they rocked. They good. I mean, if you were to ask me my favorite song on that album, I don't even remember. Like, it wasn't that memorable,
Off of which?
Maybe,
Bottle Rocket?
yeah, I like Bottle Rocket, but that was the only single I liked.
No, that's what I mean. As far as the record, you don't remember what else was on that.
No, exactly.
And I'm the same way. And for this month only, I've actually been listening to a lot of streaming stuff. I had ended up getting Apple One free for a month, which included Apple TV and Apple Music. So I can listen to Apple Music free for an entire month type of thing, which is actually good because I've been listening to a lot of stuff, of a lot of bands that I plan on talking about in future episodes. Listen to a lot of bands getting ready for this episode that I didn't have type of thing. And then, I thought, yeah, let's listen to some Guardian. I know Fire and Love. I know Miracle Mile.
Yep.
Let's listen to some of the later stuff to see what it's like. And I'm going, yeah, I don't know.
Yes, that's right. Speaking of Fire and Love, I love listening to that song because when I was doing singing, I wanted to sing that song live with a guitarist that I know. And that was a song we were going to use.
Right.
Because the words are just awesome. Like,
those two albums right now I've only got Miracle Mile. I've heard Fire and Ice or Fire and Love, and great album. I think they had a great sound. They're one of those bands I think came out a little late because they came out at the end of the 80s. If they came out a little sooner, maybe they put out a few more 80s type records. Because as soon as the 90s hit, everything changed.
Yeah.
And bands are trying to figure out what to do. If you were born, if you were a band that came out in the 80s and when the 90s hit, you're struggling to figure out what you could put out.
Now what? Yeah. Now what? Yeah.
Should we talk about some heavier bands?
Okay. Go for it.
I bring this up just because I know a few equivalents or whatever. Not necessarily one of my favorite bands. But if you're looking for an equivalent to Slayer.
Slayer. I never got, that was probably one of the bands I never got into.
No, and I didn't either. There's a few songs there's a couple songs I could say, well, okay, those weren't bad. On the whole, I wasn't really a fan. And something you can even say, well, it's a heavy thrash sound. The lyrics could be from a Christian perspective, when they talk about hell awaits, it awaits for the sinners who don't know Jesus. What's the other one? Anyways. But I think there were a few bands that were trying to copy their sound. Well, maybe not copy their sound, but copy that style, put it that way. And, I wasn't a big fan of them. I did go, gearing up for this episode, I went in and listened to a band. Their debut record definitely has that Slayer sound. So this is why I bring them up. And I'm talking about Living Sacrifice.
Okay.
So if you were a fan of Slayer and say, well, as a Christian, I don't think I can listen to these lyrics or whatever, I would definitely suggest Living Sacrifice's first record. I'm not sure if it's still available to get. I started listening to it. Someone had posted it on one of the Facebook groups as a YouTube link. And there's a YouTube file out there that has the entire album. So it was good for me to hear that, hear how they sound. And I think at times, Tourniquet has that Slayer type sound and stuff. I wouldn't say everything from Tourniquet was their sound, but there were times where I know I was listening to Tourniquet just on kind of random, or it would come up in a playlist and go, this definitely has that same style as Slayer did type thing.
Tourniquet, the only song I love listening to is Pathogenic, this and that. So, I think that's just well written, really. I mean, that could get you hooked on it.
Yeah, well, actually, my favorite, the first one I heard, although it wasn't a favorite song of mine, I think it was maybe the material or maybe the video. It was for a Christian band, it was they had a video, that first one I saw was one that definitely had disturbing content. And this is the video for Ark of Suffering.
I saw it. I saw that too. You're right. That video and the video for Pathogenic Ocular Dissonance, I dropped Tourniquet. They just went so too far. I'd love to talk to them, find out what they were thinking. Like, it's just scared. I think our previous guest that we had, Terry Grant, he said one time on his show, Roxanne, that he was like, he didn't think they were a Christian band just from watching the videos. I'm like, yeah, I could see that. Like, wow. And maybe that's what they wanted, right?
I think so. I think it was the idea to create controversy and get people talking type of thing.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs from them, and there weren't many, but one of the ones I did like from them was "You Get What You Pray For." Good heavy track.
You get what you pray for.
Yes, especially that intro. Especially that intro. All of a sudden, dun 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 dun.
Yes, I remember that. Yes, you get what you pray for. Yes, that's a classic.
Anyways, moving on to our next down the list here. I'm going to play this band first. Instead of saying who they sound like.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I'm going to play this one first because when this band came out, they were mistaken for another band until fans of the band they were mistaken for realized they weren't the band they thought they were.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to play this and we'll see how it goes.
they really sound. They sound like Megadeth a little bit.
I would have said
Who do you think?
Metallica.
I
They were
can't see
mistaken.
that.
No. Well, they got the same heavy riffs. I actually thought they sounded more like Pantera.
Yeah. Okay.
But I played out one, the song called Risen. For those who didn't understand the lyrics, I actually got them here. I was a zombie rotting, dead flesh, lifeless shell doing evil. Then God gave me what I needed to find to bring my soul to life. Risen, renewed in mind, I am risen, risen with Christ.
Wow, he's got to work on his singing, his yelling a little bit. I didn't hear any of those words. I'm like,
But
wow.
there's a little bio here. I know on Facebook there are people often say who sounds like Metallica. Risen will come up, or not Risen. This is a band called Eternal Decision.
Mm.
And they will come up often when people say they're looking for, or as an answer to people looking for a comparison to Metallica type of thing. The first single they released was a song called Hunger. And when it first came out, Metallica fans heard this, thought it was a brand new Metallica song. Yeah. And then when they realized it wasn't Metallica, they still went and downloaded the album anyways.
They went download it anyway. Wow.
This is Eternal Decision. And it is comprised of Joe Chambliss on bass and vocals, Dave Perkins on lead vocals, Corey Boatwright on guitars and vocals, Tommy Torres on guitars, and Kirk Campbell on drums. Now, there's two guys listed as lead vocals, so I'm assuming the different sounds are some of different guys. And
that would
yeah,
make
like
sense considering how much yelling they have to do.
Yeah. Well, and different sounds, you can actually hear a different voice. That's just a sample of one of their songs. Different songs have, different sounds and stuff. I think the way the guitars are produced and sounding, to me, it sounds more like Pantera. So, Eternal Decision. There you go. It's good equivalent to Metallica, Megadeth, Pantera, all that heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And next on the list, actually, this is a band I'm just getting into a whole lot more than what I used to. I was a big Judas Priest fan. And if you were to ask a lot of people who sounds like Judas Priest, I think the number one answer would be Saint. They've been around a long time. They're originally from Salem, Oregon.
Oh, okay.
The first album was released in 1984, and they went strong till 1990. Took a break. They came back in 1999 and have been going ever since. The first few records, I think, kind of paled in comparison or in production. They were, let me look up the Saint. No, I know. Was it Too Late for Living? And
okay, yeah, I've heard that single.
Saint band. What's the other one here? Albums. Too Late for Living and Time's End were the big ones in the 80s. And I listened to those. They were at the time, those early albums, they were a band I wanted to get into, but while I could understand the Judas Priest comparison, they just weren't quite as good as Judas Priest in the early days. Now, since they've reformed, I think they're a much different band. They've gone through, I think, lots of lineups and lots of member changes over the years. But what they've got out now is really good and much better than what they were when they started out and stuff. They had the same heavy guitars, the same kind of type of rhythms. The vocals were similar. They definitely weren't James Hetfield, they definitely weren't Rob Halford type vocals.
Okay.
And stuff. But I've been listening to some of their newer stuff, and I'm really liking it, type of thing. And I wonder if I can find their album list here. Oh, here we are. And what's funny was, according to Wikipedia, according to Facebook, according to anywhere I find online, they had an album called The Mark in 2006. But on Apple, it's listed as something else. It's listed as Revelation. And I can find it for sale through their sites there as Revelation. But this is a great album. This is an album that was an album actually I wanted to record myself. And what they done was they wrote songs about the book of Revelation. As it, cool. They went through the book and wrote songs for each section of the book. And I thought it could be kind of cool to take Revelation and turn it into a concept record or whatever. Well, Satan has done that. I also listened to The Calf. Came out in 2019. The production on this is incredible. This thing will rival anything that's out there in the secular world today, I think. And if you're a Priest fan, if you're anything of that heavy style, I'm getting Satan. I know I'm going to start getting them, start buying their stuff and listen to them more. It might actually become one of my top 10 bands, put it that way.
Pretty cool.
Before we leave them, though, I'll tell you what. On Saint, currently, we have Jerry Johnson on guitars, Matt Smith on guitars, Jared Noland on drums, Richard Lynch on bass, and Dave Nelson on vocals. Now, I had to do a little bit of research, too, because Matt Smith on guitars sounds a little familiar to me. He also did vocals for Theocracy. So Matt Smith is a busy guy.
Yeah. Well, a voice like that, I could see why. Yeah, he could really sing.
So we got a guy in two bands. Well, and I know when he started Theocracy, said he was a guitarist, and then he started writing it, and he produced the first Theocracy. Actually, he performed everything on the first Theocracy record. So he's a multi-talented guy, not just a singer, not just a guitarist. He can do it all, type of thing. And he's also in the band Saint now. And I believe Saint is on the bill for Immortal Fest. Yeah, so there you go. If you have the chance to go to Immortal Fest, I'd have to look up which weekend it was, because again, there's 2 weekends there. Well, this was a band I discovered because I did the hey, who sounds like so and so comparison type of thing. And
by the way, to our listeners out there, these comparisons, we'd love to hear what you guys think. Are we off? Are we wrong? Are we? And you guys, if there are bands out there that are Christian bands that you think sound like Def Leppard or whoever, let us know. You know, maybe a future episode we'll take your idea and look at it.
So I didn't think I would find anyone that sounded like Ronnie James Dio. So Dio had a very unique voice. There was a few guys that I know have sounded like the band or have sounded like him. So anyways, I did a comparison or my own asking. And I said, who sounds like Dio? And it was this band that came up, a band called Diviner. And the Diviner is a Greek band, so they're out of Greece. They have Yanis Papanokal. I can't say his last name.
Oh,
on vocals. And when you delve into his history, he actually fronted a Dio tribute band before joining Diviner. So, yeah, definitely the Dio comparisons are going to be there. Now, also in Diviner, we have Theo Ross on guitars, Alex Furros on guitars, George Nidriotos on bass, and Letteris Moros on drums. Destination, fortune, life, and death, the point of common fate.
Forever everything will change. The earth, the moon, the sun will fall. The universe reforms through cosmic fire, and all the lies of this fake world will fade and burn like our youth's desire. Centuries sealed, time grains of sand through eternity.
You know what? That voice sounds so much like Disturbed's frontman.
You think so?
Holy smoke. I think he's got that. Holy smokes. He can belt it out.
Yeah, definitely a good band. I've been getting into them ever since I asked the question, who sounds like Dio. Someone suggested Diviner. I started checking them out. And I've got a large list of CDs I want to get. I was looking at buying one of theirs. And before I bought any of theirs, they released one last year called Avaton. And I actually got that one. It's not quite as busy on the riffs as the first two albums is. These guys are definitely power metal. And I'm getting them, I'm getting into this power metal. There's Diviner, there's Signum Regis that I just discovered. They got that power metal sound, good strong voice.
Yeah. Holy smokes.
And the new one sounds a lot, still has the Diviner sound, but it's more holding the chords instead of creating these busy riffs type of thing and stuff like this. You can kind of understand the sounds a little easier type of thing like that. And before we get in on our last one here, I think there's a couple bands out there that I would say sound like 3 Days Grace.
Sure, yeah.
The bands I'm referring to, and I don't know how close this comparison is, I just know 3 Days Grace tends to do a lot of belting out, heavy on the power chords and the powerhouse, and it's more belting and yelling than actual singing. And I kind of think of 3 Days Grace every time I hear one of these two bands. And I'm referring to Skillet or Disciple.
Yeah, I can see that totally. I think more like the Skillet, I think.
Yeah. There was times and I was listening a lot more Disciple this past week there. Then there's times where they do some actual singing, whereas especially the last few records from Skillet, he just belts it out really, And if you like
gets so much help from his monitors and a lot of it is pre-recorded. You could just tell.
Yeah.
He'll stop live and.
I'm talking about in the studio versions and stuff. I don't know what the live sound sounded like. I do know Skillet is coming here to Edmonton. That's all I know is I do know they're coming to Edmonton.
Yeah, that's all I know too. That's right.
You know what? I've tried to skin the Skillet. I know there's a lot. They got a lot of fans out there, and I do like some of their songs. But overall, I just can't seem to get into them.
I know. I can and I can't. Yeah.
I think
their words are really good, but their songwriting is really good. Just their execution of it. Sometimes it's no. But they're good. I mean, I listen to. They're on my playlist. So
okay, yes. So we can agree that there's some good stuff out there, but yeah, they're not our favorite band.
No, come on. I'm waiting for it. Come on, Aaron. Let's do it.
All right. We might even have. I don't know if we got time to run through this or not, but our favorite bands on the secular scene, I guess. Who do you think sounds like Bon Jovi?
The last couple of weeks for our fans, I was never really sure because I knew who Bon Jovi was growing up, but I never connected with them or listened to them until maybe the last 10 20 years when Aaron was really big into him, and then I jumped on the bandwagon because John can sing. Oh my gosh, he can get up to those notes, and with Richie Sambora back there, I mean, awesome. And so you said you thought I Don't Care, and I did. It took me a while to think about that and find their old, because I bought their first album, Second Avenue, right?
Okay.
And listened to it for a long time, and it once in a while I could hear a little bit of like just the keyboarding stuff sounded a lot like Bon Jovi, but the guy he could sing, but not close to John. No way. Like, and the songwriting was nah. I mean, I Don't Care made some good songs like Content for the Faith. Pray was a good single.
Pray's a good one, yeah.
And then I Don't Care just went away. Like they just
they had the Breakaways album, and that's the one that I knew. I think I got in Second Avenue afterwards, but the one I went out and bought was Breakaways. And when I started thinking about the idea for this episode and comparisons, and I thought, Out of Cure kind of sounds like it. The other thing is too, there's a few bands that created that sound, and I'll bring this up because when we look for comparisons, I want to look for the overall comparison. I know when we talk about comparisons, people will say, well, Bride sounds like Guns N' Roses. No, Bride does not sound like Guns N' Roses.
No.
The album Snakes in the Playground sounds like Guns N' Roses. But that was one album, maybe two if you count Scarecrow Messiah type of thing. But Bride was a band that was influenced by many different styles, and each album sounded different. And the first few albums, Live to Die and Show No Mercy, was full-out metal assault. Okay, this was borderline thrash metal. Might have even been thrash metal type of thing. Then they got into more of a rock sound with Silence Is Madness. And, then they came out with a heavy rock sound with Snakes in the Playground and Scarecrow. And then the 90s hit. So then they started playing their 90s influences with Oddities and the Jesus Experience, and they started losing me there. But Bride was a band that changed the sound constantly because they had lots of influences and found ways of getting those influences out type of thing. And they like playing different styles. So to say a band sound, the other thing is when we talk about Bon Jovi, they had that hard rock with a keyboard sound. And there are a lot of bands that were doing it too, type of thing. And if you want to focus on a single album, I would say, Petra's Beyond Belief came close to Bon Jovi sound type of thing.
Yeah, I can see that. Totally.
Now, I would not say Petra overall sounds like Bon Jovi.
No.
And stuff. And you're right. I don't think anyone has ever matched the tone of John's voice. No. Or even tried to do the same style. And they shouldn't. Everyone should have their own style. The other band I came across and I started listening to, and I thought, these guys sound a little like them, and was DeGarmo and Key.
You know what? That's funny you say that because, I mean, I listened to them for a while. They were okay. Their words were really good, but I thought musically they just didn't. They were like all over the place. Like you didn't really know what they were going to do, which was good, right? But they weren't really advertised very well. But I can see that, though. I can see that. That would be a good comparison.
You're right. Actually, what I really liked, and when I first thought of, maybe these guys kind of sound, and I was never a DeGarmo and Key fan back in the day. They just never kind of crossed my radar. I know these guys were huge. They had some big albums out. But for whatever reason, maybe it was because I was in the heavier stuff. I don't know. They just never crossed my radar type of thing. And so I went back recently to see what these guys sound like. And I go, yes, there's definitely stuff that sounds like Bon Jovi type of thing. Well, you think we have time to run through our list?
I think we do. So let's see, where are we?
All right.
Yeah. I think our fans will understand and agree with this. If you don't, you guys can comment, Taryn.
You want to do our top 10 Bon Jovi tunes?
Okay. They're gonna find it. Boy. Great.
I was going to surprise you with that.
Well, I could do it on the fly. Like,
Okay.
I could do
well,
that.
We'll do that.
Like,
I know you'd wanted to do this for.
Yeah.
I know you wanted to do this for a while. So, what you wanted to do, because I mean, Bon Jovi really aren't a Christian. All right. Well, first you want me to go first, and we'll just kind of run through them real quick.
Oh, gee. Yeah. Okay, I guess. So first, you should give a background of Bon Jovi.
Do we need to give a background
on
Bon Jovi?
That kind of thing. Yeah, you should do a background.
We're not doing a whole episode.
Well, how about a quick summary?
All right. Okay, real quickly. I believe it was 1984 the first record came out. John had recorded a song in the studio called Runaway. And quickly formed a band to go with that song after we recorded it. And found the rest of the band.
Hey, I
Richie
always wondered
Sambora
about
on
that
guitars,
song.
David Bryan on keyboards, Tico Torres on drums, Alex John Such on bass. Then they record the rest of the record. First one comes out, just titled Bon Jovi. They have a number of albums throughout the years. The biggest one being in 1986 with Slippery When Wet, and the follow-up in 1989 with New Jersey. In recent years, Richie has left the band. Other members have left the band in the 1990s. It's really just John's band now. And
it's just John now.
There's a couple of original members still with him.
Yeah, there are a lot of original, that's right. But some of them have come back now, right? 50 years.
No, David Bryan has always been with them. And when bass player left there, Hugh McDonald came in to fill in and has been with them ever since. They've had a couple different guitarists with them now since Richie left the band. And they're celebrating their 40th anniversary as a band. Wow. Anyways.
John looks good for 50 years. I mean, the last couple of weeks I've seen him do live streams like we're doing. And wow, I mean, incredible. Like he still could sing Runaway and the old songs like he just wrote them. It's amazing. Like, it's just cool. So what are your top songs? I think all right, my top songs.
Probably not. I went deep into their catalog, knowing that you're probably going to pick a lot of the hit singles. I went a little deeper than that. Started pulling off stuff that wasn't on the singles. Now, in the later records, there wasn't a lot of stuff I liked. Number 10 was off of Burning Bridges, which as a whole, I didn't like the album. There was a couple good tracks on that album. And I have We Don't Run from Burning Bridges.
Yes, that's a good song.
Then I got We Got It Going On off the Lost Highway. And then we get into
the Lost Highway.
Again, there was some good stuff. I think it was about 50-50. Half the album was really good. Half of it was, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got Blood on Blood off the New Jersey album.
Yes.
Just older. And then the title track from These Days, which wasn't a big seller, but I thought had some really good stuff on there. So These Days. And then I got I'll Sleep When I'm Dead. My number three is Last Man Standing. That was off the Have a Nice Day album. Off of Keep the Faith in at number 2 was Dry County. And my number 1 has been compared to their Stairway to Heaven, Wanted Dead or Alive.
You know that I've done that song, and I've done Wanted Dead and Alive karaoke style. It's ever hard to do. It is. Wow. It's hard. I'm not sharing that to the public. It's no way.
I was going to say we should take it to an open jam.
No. Well,
Anyways,
we
what are
might
your
be able
top
to get
10?
away with it.
Or your
Mine was
what are your top?
number 10. My number 10 was "We Were Born to Follow." I
Okay.
think was a good song. "It's My Life" could probably be in my top 3. Really. Like, I like "It's My Life." It's done so well. "Stick to Your Guns." Obviously, I think that's
Okay.
just wow. Okay, wait, I'm going backwards. And what you said, "Blood on Blood." I like "Blood on Blood" as
Yeah.
well.
You had that one too. Okay.
And probably one I'm surprised you didn't mention, but that's okay. "Never Say Goodbye." Never
Yeah,
say
that was okay.
goodbye. No. "Love's the Only Rule." That's a good song as
All right.
well. And I
That's one of
like
the newer
"Every
ones,
Day."
isn't it?
Yeah, it's a newer one.
Okay. Yeah.
A newer one, "Every Day," which is a good song. I really like one of the songs I was writing was based off of the song "Have a Nice Day." Just my song
Okay.
is a different title and different
All
because
right.
that song is really well put together. "Keep the Faith."
All right. So
Keep the
the one
faith.
you're talking about, "Have a Nice Day." Are you talking about the title track from "Have a Nice Day"? The song "Have a
No,
Nice
yeah,
Day."
the song "Have a Nice
Right.
Day." Yeah, yeah.
That's a good
So
one too. I do
everybody
like that one.
so everybody out
Yes.
there, have a nice day. Good.
I like the way he sings it in the song. Actually, more of a Clint Eastwood style. Have a nice day.
Yes, have a nice day.
All right. So after
I
"Have a
don't know
Nice Day,"
why
you had
I hell with the devil.
wrong band.
I don't know how that got in there. That's okay. I'm trying to think of another. I said "Stick to Your Guns." I said what else? What other song am I thinking? But they're a good band. I love. Oh, and the one I've sang in singing lessons, "Living on a Prayer." Can't believe I forgot
Okay, of
that.
course.
Like, yeah, I've done that live. Like that's just awesome. Like, and that for those who don't
That's
know,
probably
that's one of their top, probably the bestseller song for them.
well. You know
Played
what?
everywhere.
Michael Sweet from Striper has even covered that song. He called it. I saw a video
"Living on
clip
a
somewhere.
Prayer."
Yes, I saw a
Hey,
video clip somewhere. He was doing solo
see,
shows.
see, when I was saying "to hell with the devil," that was a sign. That was a sign.
But I know I saw a video of him when he was doing solo shows, and I think it was just him on an acoustic, and he played that song. He introduced it as the greatest song about prayer, and I thought, oh, and then he starts strumming it along, going, okay, and then he starts singing and going, oh, now what he's doing, because it's different than the way Bon Jovi does it, because it's just him on
Oh
acoustic
yeah.
and stuff, and so that whole bass line is dropped out. And it's just him strumming on an E chord higher up on the neck though, and he's like on an E sus chord off, back and forth to an E to an E sus, and it's really interesting. I was
Find
actually
that.
trying to figure out how he did that. I should try and
I'm
see
gonna
if
have to look for that.
that's there. The other thing we need to do too, before we sign off, is if you liked this episode, don't forget to share it
Oh
on
yeah,
your media
click
socials.
like, yeah, share.
Click like, share, subscribe too, so you can get future ones. Don't forget we have a Facebook page, Rock and Metal Faith on Facebook. We also have Rock and Metal Faith, the podcast, as a Facebook group. We have an email which will be available in the show notes. So there's lots of ways to get a hold of us. The episode, give us a 5-star rating. If you don't give us a 5-star rating,
Give us 5. Yeah.
Rate it us anyways, and give us feedback what you didn't like, what we can do better. We're still got our feet wet. We're still getting used to doing this thing.
Speak for yourself. I don't want to put my feet in there. Way.
So
yeah, we're still.
Don't forget to do all that.
How many episodes have we done now? 13? 14?
somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I'd have to count.
Yeah,
I
so
usually look at the
we're still
analytics.
babies. We're still babies. Do we still have fans in Japan?
I know we still got fans
If we
overseas.
do,
Anyways.
let us. Yeah, fans to our fans overseas, get a hold of us. Thank you for listening.
And the other thing I was going to do too, we did get some feedback. This was a couple weeks back. I'm gonna do lots of editing. Anyways, I meant to do this last episode. I think we had a comment on our Facebook group. Here we go. So I want to do a shout out to one of our listeners, and he posted this quite a while back. This was posted April 18th. I meant to read it sooner, like on the last episode. From Jimmy Webb there, who left a comment on Metal Faith, the podcast group. He was talking about the White Cross episode we did. He said, just listen to the White Cross episode. This is one band I'm a little familiar with, even though it was popular before my time. I went and listened to the new album, and I'm loving it. Keep it up. I've got comments about that. Oh, not just my comments.
Awesome. Thank you for the comment.
Oh, yeah. Leave comments, and you'll get them read out on the episode.
Yeah. That's right. That's good. We don't have prizes or anything yet, so maybe down the road we'll have a shirt to send you, or who knows, or a mug.
Are you paying for all this, Chris?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We don't have anything. Okay, no, zero, nothing.
We're not even monetizing them yet. Anyways, I think that's pretty good for an episode.
Good. I think we're done. Yeah,
we'll leave it there. Remember, yes. God bless and keep rocking.
Yeah, God bless. We'll see you guys later. Have a good one. See you on the next episode.